Hi everybody. As you could probably tell, it's another beautiful day here in Brighton. Look at that sunshine, boy. Looks real good. But anyway, yeah, so woke up in a pretty good mood today. Not gonna lie. Things have been quiet. They were real quiet this morning. I think it was because of the video that I made yesterday. About, I don't know, like people obsessing over me and stuff and what it usually leads to. The truth of the matter is, if I was just saying that someone was ugly or something, or like I was just cussing people out their name, then I would have been taken off the internet a lot faster. I would have been taken off the internet a lot faster. I would have been sectioned a lot faster than I was. But the truth of the matter is that the reason why nobody can do more than so is because everything that I've said online, not only was it true at the time, well, not everything that I said, because sometimes I got stuff wrong. Not only was most of the stuff that I said online absolutely true, no matter how ridiculous it was, if it wasn't true at the time, then it came to pass. So I was talking about a lot of ugly stuff that people were doing to me and had some evidence of some of the ugly stuff that people were doing to me. And every time they tried to cuss me out, I would basically throw back a home truth in their face. Like, my guy, you got kids. You're literally out here being a perp. My guy, you're the one who's getting injected rather than me. You're the perp. I'm a TI. You're doing some wild shit all the time. Like, you're doing this, you're doing that. Everybody can see you doing it. And now you want to try to smear me. So it was basically about the truth that I was spitting. I now that I think about it, I don't think people really care how I react. I don't think they really care how I react so long as what they're doing doesn't fuck with their self-image. Because I used to think the perps really cared how I felt. They don't care how I feel. It's a means to an end to them. What they care about is being able to do what they're supposed to do, drive me crazy, like ruin my life or what kind of shit, without ruining. It's not even just about how other people see them. It's about how they see themselves. And every time I keep bringing up what they're doing to me, I'm fucking with how they see themselves. I'm fucking with their narrative of being a put upon protagonist. I'm in pain. It's like, it's a double-edged sword, because the thing is that as a perp, you're having all your worst vices, basically reinforced to you. Unless you're an absolute sociopath, that shit is gonna mess with you. Like, if your job is to be your absolute worst self, and yet your worst self is what's causing you, it's like you have a deep-seated inner pain, right? And that causes you to do something in turn that helps you become your worst self, right? So then gang stalking comes along and then like encourages that worst self even more, which basically continues the pain cycle. So it's just a never-ending cycle of pain. And the only thing that's keeping you from fucking ending it or from spiraling completely, because a lot of perps are completely spiraled on this job. A lot of perps are completely spiraled trying to fuck with me, right? The only thing that's keeping people from spiraling is having their self-image and their self-worth reaffirmed to them. That is the only thing that is like keeping them from spiraling altogether. Unless they're a complete sociopath and they just don't care, which most of these perps aren't. And yeah, I've used sociopath and psychopath and narcissistic. Like, I've used them interchangeably to describe these people, but the truth of the matter is that like very few people in the world, even on this job, are like completely are sociopathic or psychopathic. At most, these people are probably narcissists. But even sociopaths have consciences, you know what I mean? But it's like your self-image, the one where you keep telling yourself, I'm in pain, I'm not really a bad person, I'm not really this person. That's the only thing that's stopping you from spiraling. And having me, the person that you're targeting, not only defying you by kind of getting on with my life while you're doing your job, When I'm not getting on with my life, I'm throwing back in your face everything that you've ever done to me. So I'm fucking with your self-image here. Now, don't get it twisted. When I do that, I'm lashing out because not only am I dealing with my own demons, I'm having to deal with everybody else's demons as well. I'm fucking exhausted. So when I lash out at the gang stalkers, it's not that I want to make them feel bad or I want to make them... It's just that I don't give a fuck if I do. Leave me alone. So I end up throwing their demons back in their face, and that's what sends them crazy. That's what fucks with their self. That's what sends them crazy. I honestly thought it was because I wasn't reacting the way that they wanted me to, but now I see it's not that. It's not that. I'm fucking with their self-image because they're already in enough pain as it is. Through their own actions, like just like contributed to an endless pain cycle through their own actions. It's bad enough that they've done that to themselves without the person that they're hurting or the person that they've been enlisted to hurt continuously throwing back in their face everything that they've ever done. So of course they're going to spiral. Of course they're going to have arguments over me. Of course they're going to have instances where, you know, of course they're going to have instances where, you know, they have arguments over me or they self-destruct over me. It's because the truth of who they are and what they've become, they can't handle it. They can't handle it. It's a lot to handle. Again, you have to be, like, your conscience has to be weak for that not to be the case. Like, super weak. It's not enough to be a sociopath. You have to be a psychopath to do this job and not be affected by it. You have to be like a sociopath has a conscience. A narcissist has shame. So shame and guilt, that's going to make you spiral. The only way you're not going to spiral in doing this job is if you're a psychopath. Is if you're so filled with rage that it's literally collapsed in on itself like a neutron star. Yeah, I got that from Family Guy. It's literally collapsed in on itself like a neutron star. And instead of thinking about how the person feels, all you can think about is controlling them. They can be happy, they can be sad, as long as you're the one who's in control. That's a psychopath. But most of the people targeting me are not psychopaths. Most of them are not psychopaths. Most of them are sociopaths at worst. Definitely narcissists, don't get it twisted. But most of them are sociopaths at worst. Because remember, psychopaths are usually at the top of the pyramid socially. So it's very, very rare that you're going to come across a psychopath, even when you're a TI. Even when you're a TI. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I thought it was about getting to me. Like up to yesterday, I really thought it was about getting to me. I really thought these people are so obsessed with me. And it's like, no, it's not me they're obsessed with. They're fighting with themselves. They're fighting with, like, I'm the voice in their head. I'm in their mind. I'm the voice in their head saying, you are not the fucking hero of your own story. You are literally bullying and harassing somebody for months. You are literally weak enough that you can say all this shit through a wall to somebody, and when it comes to saying it in front of their face, you ain't got nothing to say. You're the type of person, when somebody confronts you about exactly what you've done, you try to deflect by pointing out their weaknesses, which are so trivial in comparison to what you've actually done. You, Fabian Deacon, is a nuisance. You are a monster. I'm that voice inside their head saying that shit. And what makes it worse is that it's absolutely true. That is what's fucking with them. That is what's always fucking with the perps. I'm that voice in their head saying Fabian Deacon is a nuisance, but you are a fucking monster. And it's true. It's all true. And far from making me feel superior, it just makes me pity them. Because I know it was their own pain that got them here. They didn't get here because they started out as being bad people. Like, it's very rare that somebody starts out as a bad person. It's very fucking rare. I know that most of these perps got here through their circumstances. But they made the choice to continue to go down the path of being a monster. I can't help them with that. I can't help them. I can only respond to what's being done to me. So there are times where, yes, I'm going to ignore them. Yes, I'm going to get on with my life. Yes, I'm going to just let things slide. And then there are times where I'm going to tell you about yourself, because you know what? It's literal torture. I'm being physically tortured through electronic weaponry. I'm being psychologically tortured with gaslighting, street theatre, mind games, insults, harassment, endless harassment. So I'm being tortured literally every day. Not even just having to deal with my demons, but literally everyone else is on top of that. I'm having to deal with my demons and the demons of perverts, deviants. I'm having to deal with perverts, deviants, torturers, murderers, dealers. I'm having to deal with the demons of traffickers, the demons of sociopaths, the demons of psychopaths. So I'm not just dealing with my own demons over here. I'm dealing with everybody motherfucking else's demons. And you know why? Because when you're vulnerable, or you're perceived as vulnerable, or you're perceived as harmless, you'll be amazed at what people show you when people think you're weak. This is a world that forgives weakness way less than they forgive abusiveness. You'll be amazed at how people treat you when they think you're weak, and or when they think you're a sitting duck. So I'm dealing with my own demons, and I'm dealing with everybody else's demons on top of that. The same vulnerability that's saving me is the same one that people are trying to weaponize against me in order to save their own ass. I'm having to deal with that constantly. So if I lash out and tell people, yeah, you're a fucking monster for what you're doing, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, it's the truth. And yeah, I'm going to lash out, but no, it's my right. And I don't give a shit if it contributes to you spiraling out of control. The truth is the fucking truth. You know exactly what you're doing. I'm not going to spare your feelings. I'm not your fucking therapist. I'm your fucking victim. I'm your victim. I'm your victim. I'm not your fucking therapist. I was gonna come out of the sunlight, but I need it to feed me. I need the sun to feed me right now. I need it. No, I'm gonna stay here for as long as the sun's out. I'm gonna stay here. But yeah, that's what the obsession of me is about. I'm fucking with people's self-image of the hero. Don't get it twisted. I have thoughts of my own. I can be arrogant. I can be reckless. I can be vindictive sometimes. I'm not saying I ain't perfect. I can be fucking mean. I can be cruel. Like, ask the people that I love the most how cruel I can be. Ask them. Ask the people who love me the most how cruel I can be sometimes. Ask them. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm a fucking bitch. But the fact of the matter is, if I'm going to deal with my demons on top of everybody else's demons as well, then what the fuck do you think is going to happen? Like, chill. Stop it. You can't fucking do shit like this to people and then claim to be a victim. You can't. It doesn't matter how much pain got you here. You're the one who ultimately decides what you do, not me. Not me, not your victims. Your victims do not decide what you do. Stop being weak. So yeah, that's why people are obsessed with me. It's not me. It's not me they're obsessed with. I'm just an ordinary person like everybody else, trying to fucking find their own peace of mind. I'm not. I'd love to think I was special. I'd love to think I was like some great, incredible human being. I'd love to. I am not fucking averse to that. I would love to think that I was special. I would love to think that I was different. I would love to think that I was this amazing, wonderful powerful person who could do no wrong, but that's just not fucking true. I'm an ordinary person. So when these perps get obsessed with me, they're not getting obsessed with me. They're getting obsessed with trying to rewrite how they think of themselves. Thinking that if they shut me up, then they can go back to deluding themselves that they're not monsters for what they're doing. It's never about me. It was never about me. Anyway, I got an email from the council today because I sent them an email. And I'm going to post that up on this channel, and then on YouTube I'm going to click the link so that you can see evidence. I wanted to talk to the council and say to them, could you inform my landlords that I need written confirmation as to what decision has been made about my stay in the property. Now, this was due to the fact that that was due to that whole sectioning business in which nobody could keep their story straight about why the assessment people were around there. I said, usually a verbal agreement would be enough to settle things, but given that there was an attempt to have me psychologically reassessed to avoid homelessness, again, if the landlords decided that I was going to stay, then why do I need to be reassessed? It's still unclear what the decision has been with regards to whether or not I stay here. Whilst paperwork is preferable, verbal confirmation and the continuation of rent paid could be enough for now. So I was fair. I said, look, in fact, that's more than fair considering what I've been through. That's more than fair. I said, look, if it's enough that you said that I could stay and that bills have been paid, then cool, all right. And let's not forget that the only reason why these landlords are giving me leeway, you know, considering what I've done, considering what I literally did, I don't need to repeat it again. Okay, considering what I've done, on the surface, it seems more than fair what the landlords are doing. But the thing is, the only reason why they're doing it is to avoid being sued. At the end of the day, this whole thing was their fault. Remember, I haven't been racially harassed as much as I've been harassed over my mental health issues, which the tenants would never have known if the landlords hadn't said anything to them. Like, it's not your business to tell people that I have mental health issues. It's not your business. It's not your business. And because the little girl got scared of a black woman laughing, it gave her the ammunition to use my mental health issues against me as well. So if it wasn't for the landlords, they wouldn't there's nothing to say that this family wouldn't have harassed me without the tenancy's input. But we're never going to know that because of what the landlords have told them. We're never going to know whether or not the tenants would have harassed me with the same slurs had the tenants not said anything, had the landlords not said anything. There's no way of knowing that because the landlords put that seed in their minds. And then on top of that, they put that seed in their minds to cover their ass. Just like the other neighbours here gave them curry madras to cover their ass. So, like, for me, if it wasn't for the landlords, they're the ones who set this whole shit in motion because they wanted to cover their ass over the way they treated me before that family got here. Yeah, they wanted to fucking cover up what the landlords did. The landlords fucked up. So when that family got here, they thought they had another ally in their corner to help get me out. So it confirmed everything that I was saying all along about the landlords trying to get me out anyway. So like when it comes to the bare basics of how I was treated, I'd still have a case. So it doesn't matter to me whether they want to evict me or not, because it's going to amount to the same thing. If they decide that they don't want me there anymore, then I can fucking sue them without the conflict of interest. And not even just them, the police as well. But let me continue. So the council got back to me and said, how has everything been in the flat? Have there been any more incidents with the neighbours upstairs? it says, I'm on a periodic tenancy now. And it says that means I still have the right to reside here. And I'm still responsible for paying rent. And this person said, if they have not written to you to serve notice, then you're still the legal occupant. So I don't think asking them to make a decision is going to be the wisest move, as we don't want to force their hand. So how is me asking to make things clear forcing their hand? I thought the landlords didn't want to evict me. Then why would you be worried about forcing their hand? You see, these people can't stick to their fucking story. I'm sick of this shit. However, if you want me to follow up about the new tenancy agreement, then I will do so. Alright, so I said the neighbours have been continuously harassing me, but it's mostly the children. Actually, no, it's not the children, it's one child. And I haven't responded. And the more I continue to not respond, the worse it usually gets, though this morning has been quiet. I think under the circumstances, forcing the landlord's hand is probably the least of their worries at the moment. I'm still considering legal action, which I found out I actually have grounds for, and living under the same tenancy as them might be a conflict of interest anyway. Same tenancy, like living under the landlords, right? But if you really insist that me remaining in the property is truly the best option, given everything that's happened and continues to happen without my contribution, I make that fucking plain, I could always leave you to decide what course of action to take next. So that's where I left it. Now, I can't think whether I said their name out loud or not. I didn't mean to. Hopefully I didn't. I've got to see when I fucking go back. But you get the gist of things. You get the gist of it, right? Basically, I'm trying to understand, because these people are like just lying like they breathe right now. Clearly the landlords wanted me out, and they've wanted me out for months. And clearly this family was supposed to be helping them make that happen, but everything's backfired, and now they're trying to cover their ass again. Again, even without the gang stalking angle, even without the Havana syndrome angle, I still have a case. And not even just against them, against East Brighton Mental Health. I have a case against the police as well. I have a case against all of them. I could easily just sue all of them and have done. And buy my own fucking flat. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this place is not the be all and end all for me. I came here admittedly with benefits. Shout out to the government, because, you know, even though that's the least they owe me considering what they've actually done to me, right? I came here with nothing but government money. I came here when I had no friends, no home, no friends, nothing. I came here with 7 fucking bags, bro. I came here with nothing. Came here with nothing, and within 10 months got my motherfucking flat through fucking belligerence, through fucking letting everybody know what the fucking deal was. Like, I did not stop. I was persistent. I was determined. I was ambitious. I knew what I wanted to do with my life. I came here. I said, look, I don't give a fuck where I start. I know where the fuck I'm going to end up. These people can play that game with me if they want to. But the fact of the matter is, I've done better here within fucking 2 years than I ever did in London within 34. And that's the fucking truth. They can play that game with me if they want to. They can play that game with me and they want to. I'll come back and buy you out. Don't fuck with me. I'll come back and buy you out. You think this shit is a game? You think this shit is a game? You think fucking around with people's lives, putting them on a fucking list they don't need to be in, you think that shit is a game? I can fucking buy these motherfuckers out. They don't know me. I can fucking buy them out. The fuck you think this is, man? No, these people get on my nerves. This is why I don't like talking about this, because they trigger me all over again with the gaslighting and the no, don't do that shit with me. Don't do that shit with me. Don't like that shit. But anyway, yeah. But I'll upload the redacted emails on here on Ti Fabian on Instagram. I'll also, yeah, oh yeah, the daily readings. I forgot about that. I'm gonna give you the link to the daily readings as well. Give you the link to my vocals, even though I haven't done them in a while. So I'm gonna upload the link to all those things, and yeah, that's basically it. Is there anything else I've forgotten? Yeah. Heard from one of my TI friends. A fellow TI is out of hospital, thank God. A second one contacted me like a few days ago. They're just going through the absolute most. Like, I can't even go into all of that. Like, they're just going through the absolute most. Like, I have to say, I've seen people burnt before. I've seen people with with fucking directed energy weapon wounds before, but like that has to be among one of the worst I've ever seen with that person. Like, I've mentioned them before, but god damn, like I like the amount of shit that they're going through. They can't sit in their house for 1 second, and the person targeting them, the person responsible for most of the torture is, guess what, a fucking drug addict. But unlike these addicts that I'm dealing with, I have a feeling that my neighbor might be alcoholic. Unlike the fucking that no, don't take my word for it that the neighbor's an alcoholic. I'm just putting it together. Don't take my word for it, don't take my word for it. That's just conjecture. But what I do know for a fact is that the main person handling or targeting this person that I'm talking about with the horrific ass burns, they're definitely an addict. But unlike this one here, they kind of revel in their addiction. They don't give a fuck. They get drink, they get drugs, they get whatever they want in order to torture this person. And every time this poor soul, this TI, confronts that dickhead, he just laughs about it. Personally, I think, that person's either a handler or a controller. They're usually devoid of humanity. But yeah. He just didn't care. He just laughs in her face. There's another TI of mine who was literally nearly beaten half to death. She's got broken ribs. At first, the only compensation she really got was for the tent, which is £100. So basically they did absolutely nothing to the guy who actually beat her half to death. That was until he didn't show up to court. That was the only time when they actually wanted to arrest him for what they actually did to her. That woman had to fight. This is another TI now. This is a separate one now. Broken ribs, beaten half to death. Like, when I tell you what these TIs are going through, what I'm going through is nothing compared to what they're going through. It's just, you wouldn't believe how ugly this shit gets. How cruel the people doing this are. Because cruelty is necessary for the job. I remember when I was going through that tooth pain in that hostel, and I was literally crying all the way down the street because of how much my face was hurting. I saw this fucking moon-faced blonde cunt walking past with a look of satisfaction on her face about how it was affecting me. That's the level of shit we're dealing with. That's the level of shit we're dealing with. That's the level of cruelty that we're dealing with here. And what I went through is nothing. That's nothing. I was debilitated. Yeah, I had my face hurt, and that happened to me in London as well. My entire jaw is worn away because of the fucking weapons. Yeah, that's due to the weapons. Like my facial muscles being weak. There's less bone here than there is here. Markedly less. It showed up on a dentist X-ray the last time I was down there. If there was no left jaw then, you can only imagine what it looks like now. But that's the type of shit that they fucking do. And then they go around bragging about it. But again, what I've gone through is nothing compared to what some of these other TIs go through. You wouldn't believe that fucking shit. And then there's the fucking TIs that have been murdered through all of this shit. If they weren't murdered through people encouraging them to kill themselves, they were murdered through the directed energy weapons causing heart attacks, cancers and strokes. They were murdered through fucking psychological harassment, leading them to be medicated, dangerously medicated with dangerous side effects. Like I said, I could have been in hospital in dire straits a lot fucking faster if I'd have closed my mouth. If I'd have shut my mouth and not rocked the boat, I could have ended up in a lot of precarious situations a lot fucking faster. And the thing about me is that the reason why, I'm not saying that I want my online profile to be taken down. I don't. I really don't. It's got a lot of evidence in there, but hear what, right? If you're a gang stalking victim for the rest of your life, you're going to have evidence no matter what you do anyway. So all of that evidence could be wiped out tomorrow. There'd be fresh evidence the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Why do you think people are trying to avoid talking to me? And they know that whatever I say in line, I'm going to say in public. There are times where I haven't recorded anything and I've still told people, look, I'm a targeted individual. I go through Havana syndrome. My organs have been eroded because of non-ionized radiation and directed energy attacks. And all of this shit is real. You can look it up. These weapons have been fine-tuned and experimented on for fucking decades. You can look it up. I'm not making it up. Directed energy weapons are not a result of paranoid schizophrenia. They are fucking real. And they involve targeting biological subjects or technology. Which means they attack humans. And if they're going to attack humans, shouldn't they experiment on humans first? Like, what the fuck do people think this is? I ain't got the fucking time, man. There are literal implants in people that aggravate certain illnesses. For example, the person who got beaten half to death, there's a point at the back of her neck here where she keeps being fired on. I don't know if it's an implant back there or if she's being fired with directed energy weapons back there. But that point back there is causing her to bleed out constantly, even when her period's not due. So she has to kind of fight to fucking replenish her blood cells. She has to fight to replenish her blood cells because a lot of what goes on with directed energy weaponry, a lot of it is to do with hormones. You change somebody's hormones, you can change somebody's character. That's what all of this is about. That's what all of this is about. You change somebody's hormones, you change somebody's life, you change somebody's personality. You can do that through affecting somebody's hormones. You apply the directed energy weapons in the right place, which is what they constantly do with us. You can affect their entire character completely. The sleep deprivation, noise disturbance, fucking directed energy weaponry, street theater, all of it is designed to keep the so-called enemy off balance so that they'll end up either self-destructing or they won't be at full capacity when it comes to strategy or when it comes to being able to defend themselves. That's what all of this is about. It's about controlling the smaller entity so that the larger one can live another day. That's what all of this shit is about. And hormones plays a crucial part in affecting somebody's human behavior. When you affect somebody's hormones, you affect somebody's soul, quiet as it's kept. Because that's the inner fire. Your hormones, your kundalini energy coming from your spinal column. It's all about the silver cord, which is your spine, and the golden crown, which is your brain. It's in the fucking Bible. If you affect the silver cord and the golden crown, you can not just affect their lifespan. It's not just about their lifespan. You can control their entire being. You can control, if you control their hormones, you can control their subconscious and what their subconscious does. This is serious shit. It's all about trying to control somebody and make somebody into what they want them to be. You can check, like, what I'm about to say is very controversial. But I need you guys to listen very, very carefully. They can affect everything about you, your sexuality included. Now, I'm a bisexual, hetero-romantic woman. Even though, honestly, I wouldn't be averse to being in a relationship with a woman. I just wouldn't. I love women. But I'm bisexual and hetero-romantic, right? But the thing is that as much as sexuality or alternate sexuality can just as easily be organic, because if you look in the animal kingdom, there are all types of different sexualities that have long existed in the wild, like bisexuality, homosexuality. They've long existed in the wild, long before any human manipulation had anything to do with it, okay? So that has always existed. But that can also be influenced as well through attacking your hormones, through changing your hormonal structure. They can change your sexuality too, or they can affect your sexuality too through your hormones. They can control how much you want sex, how much you don't want it. They can control how you think about it. They can stimulate your sexual organs at the worst times so that if you don't know about these weapons, you're confused about what your sexual orientation is. Like, there are a million one different ways in which they can affect your sexuality. And they do it through your hormones. A combination of affecting your hormones and hypnotic suggestion. Quiet as it's kept, they can turn you straight too. If they really want to do it, they can turn you straight. It'd be more difficult, but they can fucking do it. It can be done. If they can turn you gay, they can turn you straight. This is why when it comes to TIs being homophobic or biphobic or transphobic, I don't fuck with that shit. Because at the end of the day, if you're telling me that people can be turned gay, you're telling me people can't be turned straight? You're telling me people can't be brainwashed into overpopulating the planet? It's happened before. So if people can't be brainwashed into being gay, if people can be brainwashed into being gay and can be brainwashed into being bisexual, can be brainwashed into being transsexual, then common sense should tell you that the same thing can happen to heterosexuals as well. Come on now. Come on now. Seriously. Might be more difficult, but it can happen. It can definitely happen. And with the way patriarchy set up, the amount of the generations of violence from men against women and the effect it still has today, like, my guy, come on. Come on. That's why I don't fuck with queerphobes. I don't fuck with queerphobes, because at the end of the day, right, targeted individuals will take this information and then they'll use it as an excuse to be homophobic or biphobic, when really you're just repeating Nazi rhetoric. That's another reason why I say that certain people exposing the truth about the government, Trojan horse, because then they'll use that to justify their racism, justify their queerphobia, justify all their bigotry. When the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what you are. The point is to make you something that you're not. That's the point. That's the point of all this. The point is not to make you gay, not to make you straight, not to make you... If the point is to do two things. The point is to turn you into something you're not for the purpose of control. That's the point of all this. That's the first point. The second point is to bring nature, is to bring the feminine under complete control, complete domination, to even automate the feminine or automate womanhood. Create complete artifice out of womanhood so that it's more easily controllable. Those are two things. Those are two things that this world has been designed to do. Turn you into something you're not for the purpose of control, and to complete subjugation of the feminine and complete subjugation of nature, which basically controls all of us. Because if you control nature and you control the feminine, and you remain split between your super ego and your id, there's this huge widening split as a result of this overemphasis on artifice, patriarchal artifice, then people are more easily controlled. People are more easily hypnotized if their fucking id and their super ego are increasingly split. That's what that part that nobody tells you. People are more easily brainwashed. People are more easily controlled when there's a direct split between their super ego and their animal sides. Because then that will have people thinking that they're acting completely from their super ego when really their id is taking over without them even knowing it. And that id becomes, in turn, very, very easy to corrupt. Automating the id, automating nature, automating the feminine, and then turn you into something that you're not. This world is one big slave ship. White men are the house slaves. Don't let a damn thing fool you. They're just the slaves of the house, nothing more. We're all slaves, all of us. And white men are house slaves, and just like any loyal house slaves, they'll argue that it could be worse, when really you should be asking yourself, why isn't it any better than this? Why are people being treated like this? Why is this happening? But no, you'd rather, it's not all white men either. I'm not trying to say it's all white men, but it's like, you'd literally rather fight for the right to be your worst self than ask yourself, like, why am I being held back from being my best self all the time? But yeah, this was a lot. But yeah, that's through your hormones. It's all through your hormones, through brainwashing as well. Emotions play the biggest part of brainwashing. You control somebody's hormones, you control their emotions. You control their emotions, you control them. Or at least that's how our gang stalkers ideally want it. But it doesn't always happen like that. Case in point. Yeah, now I've got to come off this live, man. Hang on. Do I have to come off this live? I'm sure I have some more that I have to say. No. Could talk about Joe Rogan, but yeah, Joe Rogan and Neil Young, fuck both of them. Neil Young is queerphobic, Joe Rogan is clearly racist, fuck the both of them. Could give a fuck. India Ari, I'm sorry to say, has fallen for the okie doke, because at the end of the day, like, I ain't got a dog in this fight. Literally every other platform has, you know, basically, you know, the worst type of racist, the worst type of sexist that own them, or, you know, still have a platform after everything is said and done. So, you know, I ain't got a dog in that fight. I'm still keeping my playlist. Fuck it. I don't give a fuck right now. I'm just focusing on myself and what I can get out of the situation. Like, you know, as a TI, as a black woman, this world don't care for me. It's time that I care for myself. And seeing as people want to accuse us of being selfish and only thinking about ourselves, well, why don't we do that? Why don't we just think about ourselves? Fuck the rest of the world. The rest of the world have already made up its mind. We need to make up ours. We need to make up our minds. Like, what is it that makes us happy? Especially black women. What is it that makes us happy? We need to focus on ourselves, because at the end of the day, we're living in a world where people feel literally victimized by nature, victimized by the feminine, victimized by blackness. Like, we don't need to be dealing with that type of delusion there. We need to be thinking about ourselves right now. You know, we've got people walking around here feeling victimized by arguably the most victimized people on the planet. We're not doing this. And people walking, you know, these perps are walking around feeling victimized by TIs because TIs call them a name. Grow up, man. You made your choice. You made your fucking choice. So yeah, let's focus on ourselves. Let's do it. Let's focus on ourselves and what we want. You know, I'm tired of being the fucking... I'm tired of being the sacred, you know, a sacred figure of healing. And like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I want to focus on me. I'm going to focus on me. And I suggest everybody in my position do the same, especially if your targeting is worse than mine, which it is going to be. I know your targeting has got to be worse than mine. Focus on you. And not even just black women, like literally anybody who's a single woman who's going through this shit. Focus on yourselves. Focus on yourselves, because the rest of the world ain't got time for you. Focus on yourselves. And now I gotta go. I said a mouthful today, but yeah, I'll upload the emails on this page. And yeah, anyway, you take care. Bye bye.